Welcome again, Ultimate Speaker, to this second session with Clint Arthur. And we're titling this one, Pay to Speak. Now, if you were to look in the dictionary under professional speaker, it tells you it's a person who earns all or part of their income from speaking to groups. Now, during this 2016 presidential campaign, we've talked about Donald Trump in session number 1. And in this campaign, Hillary Clinton has come under a lot of flack from her Democratic opponent, Bernie Sanders, for collecting over $250,000 for her speeches for Wall Street firms like Goldman Sachs. $250,000 for one speech. Well, as a founding member of the National Speakers Association, way back in 1974, there were only a handful of us that were called professional speakers. Now we have over 4,000 members of the National Speakers Association. And a recent survey was done and found that the 95% of speakers earn less than $6,000 for a speech. Now, obviously, best-selling authors, business leaders, athletes, television, movie stars, people like that in celebrity status earn substantially more. Now, my speaking fee now, after all these years, is $15,000 to just show up and do a keynote, or up to $24,000 for a presentation. And that's been my business model for 42 years. Somebody wants me to speak, they pay my fee, plus the expenses. And based on the time, how much you want from me in time, that determines the fee. Now, Clint Arthur is completely different. His business model is he pays people to speak at their events. He's paid as little as $1,000 and as much as $40,000. Yeah, $40,000 to speak, and yet he earns a tremendous amount of money. So let's find out how this is possible. Paid to speak, subtitled, and still earn more money than an ordinary speaker. Clint, tell us how you do this.
Thank you, Joel. It's an honor to be here again with you and to share this information with your audience, because this is the opposite of what so many professional speakers say that they do. I talk to a lot of professional speakers and they say, I would never pay to speak. I say I'm excited to pay to speak. It's really the most cost-effective way for me to get in front of an audience is just to cut a check. And if it's the right audience, man, it's a very, very good thing to do. I have built my 7-figure information marketing business by paying to speak. That's right, 7 figures. So I think that would put me in the top 5% of all the earners in the National Speakers Association.
No, probably in the top 1%.
Okay, so thank you very much. I got chills down my spine from hearing you say that. And I do it because I pay to speak. So what is this all about? Look, I remember when I first started watching great speakers in the expert industry like Brendon Burchard. At his first seminar, he said, I've had the great privilege of sharing my message on the same stage as Sir Richard Branson and the Dalai Lama. With great corporations, he said, actually, at great corporations like GE, Accenture, and Amazon. And I thought to myself, oh, of course, Brendon could do that. He's so slick. I could never do that. I couldn't even get on the same stage as Brendon. And yet, 18 months later, there I was, on the same stage as Brendon Burchard. In fact, I was the next speaker up after Brendon Burchard at a conference called Author 101.
Let's just explain who Brendon is for those who don't know online marketing and internet marketing.
He is the founder of Experts Academy and World's Greatest Speaker Training and High Performance Academy. He's got 4 different seminar brands that attract between 400 and 800 people to each of their events. And he does these around the world. And he's got millions of followers on Facebook. And he was one of my first mentors, especially as a speaker. And I was so I was so, like, I would look at him and I thought, how could I ever get on the same stage as him, let alone Branson and the Dalai Lama? And yet, only 18 months later, there I was on the same stage as him, the next speaker up. How did I do that? Well, I went on a few TV appearances. I had maybe, I don't know, 15 by that point, maybe 18, and that contributed to my ability to do that. But what did I really do? I'll tell you what I did. I paid $10,000 to get on that stage. And as a result of paying that $10,000 to get on that stage, I had 1 hour on the stage, and at the end of that hour, I sold $50-something thousand worth of my own products. So you tell me, was that a good deal? I think it was a good deal. If I had been like most speakers who don't pay to speak, I would never pay to speak, say most professional speakers. I'll split with you. If I do well, then I'll split the revenues with you. If I had been doing a split like most professional speakers, it would have cost me over $30,000 to get on that stage. But it only cost me $10,000. And by the way, who do you have to be to be able to be on a stage like that and split after a guy like Brendon Burchard goes on the stage? You have to be somebody to get on that stage. But I was just a beginning speaker, and I wanted to rapidly and easily ascend through the speaking industry and get on the bigger stages. And so I was willing to put my money where my mouth is. And you know what's really interesting, Joel? When you got skin in the game like that, it forces you to do better. When you know that you are going to get daggers stared at you by your wife if you don't sell good from the stage because you spent 10 grand to be there. What? You didn't sell nothing and you spent $10,000? That's what I would have heard from my wife. But and as a result, I did an extra good job. I was extra diligent about preparing and rehearsing and making sure that my offer and my order form were going to convert, and that I was going to come home a hero and not a dog. And
now let me ask you a question on that. Okay, so now we kind of understand that business model. Now, what kind of groups are open to the idea of having a speaker pay them for the opportunity to get in front of their audience? Now, since some of our members speak at industry events or corporate events or civic events, tell us some of the types of groups that do this, and if they are specific, maybe like what kind of industry or marketing do they do that fit this business, because this is so different.
Any group that has an event has a website, and on the website you will very often see sponsors. Very often at the top of the page, there's a button at the top. It says sponsors. You click that button, it'll take you to the sponsor page. And at the bottom of that, it'll say, if you're interested in sponsoring, click here. Well, you click there. And then you sometimes will get a prospectus about what's included in the sponsoring. Well, for me, as a speaker, as a person who wants to speak, every time I sponsor at an event, I don't sponsor unless one of the things I get is stage time. On day one, I need a minimum of 15 minutes on the main stage in front of the whole room, or else I'm not interested in sponsoring. I'm not going to make an offer. I'm not going to make a sales pitch. All I'm going to do is tell you my story so that you get to know, like, and trust me. And then I'll mention the fact that if you're interested in getting some expert authority positioning by speaking at Harvard, please come see me at my booth, because we have a few spots left at our Thought Leader Conference at Harvard, and we're looking for people who want to raise their profile by speaking at Harvard for the Entrepreneurship Students Club of Harvard Business School, getting a great video, and other great marketing assets as a result. And that's all I do. That's not a hard sales pitch. Most guys go up there and they're reading off features and benefits and all this stuff. And that's not at all what I do. I just mostly tell my story for 15 minutes.
Okay, so on the webpage it says sponsors. Now, what if that's not one of the options, speaking at an event? Is that something that you would propose to the meeting planner or the convention person and say, you know, I'd like to sponsor, but part of it is to get 15 minutes on the main stage?
I say, Miss Meeting Planner, I have my credit card in my hand right now, and I'm very anxious to be a sponsor at your event, But the only way I'm willing to sponsor is if I have 15 minutes on the main stage. Now, not all of them are willing to do it, but many of them are. And if you want to be a speaker, then you have to find the conferences that are willing to do it, and you have to make sure that you get stage time and make sure you specify that you're going to be in front of the whole room, and that, I mean, there's so many other ways that, it's like, I was recently at a financial conference. Check this out, Joel. You're going to love this. The meeting planner introduces me to the meeting in front of the room. There's 350 financial advisors there recently, and a number of them will be speaking at Harvard, by the way. She introduces me to the room, and then she sits down in a chair behind a table on the main stage, right next to me, where I'm supposed to be giving my presentation for the 10 minutes that I got. She sits down on my stage. And I went up to her after it was over. And there's a point in my presentation where I reenact a scene from my past where I was living on a boat. And I was going to use the table where she was sitting as my bunk of my boat, but she was sitting there. So I couldn't do it. I had to go to the other table where there was an Elmo on the other table, and I'm in the boat with an Elmo between my legs doing my little act out. It was unbelievable. After it was over, I went over to her. I said, I have never, ever seen a speaker where they were introduced to be the speaker, and then the meeting planner stayed on the stage with them. And she goes, well, my dress was so short and tight that I didn't want to walk down the stairs because it's hard to walk in the short, tight dress with my heels. So I just figured I would stay on the stage. And I'm like, don't you ever stay on my stage again if you introduce me. She goes, it's not your stage, it's our stage.
Well, I don't know why she was wearing such a tight, short skirt for a business event. All right.
I have a new rider in my sponsorship contract. No person may be on the stage with me while I am speaking. I mean, you got to learn these things, Joel, right? It's like...
Well, that's part of our ultimate speaking system, right? Under the Groundhog Day. Anything that happens that could happen again goes on your checklist.
Yep.
And that's why you're such a good student that once that problem happens, it's not going to happen again.
It's not.
You can do a dumb thing once, but you don't do it twice.
Yeah.
So that was a great recovery. Okay, so the idea is that if you have something to sell, whether it's a product or a service, and you're looking to get more exposure to either a known prospect base,
right,
potential customers or clients, that a sponsorship is one way to do it, where you can have in the exhibit area a space to explain and show what you do. And then, as Clint is suggesting, the only way you do that is if you get stage time to not make a sales presentation, but to make an engaging presentation where you connect with the audience. They like what you have to say. They know what you do. And now they want more information, so they're going to come and see you at the booth.
Some of these conferences want you to make a sales pitch. One of the ones I was at in San Antonio recently, the head of the conference came up to me and he says, there's no purpose for you being here unless you're going to make an offer.
Wow.
That's what he actually said. He said, if you don't have something that can help my people, then why are you even here? You have to make an offer. You have to offer them something that's a great offer. Otherwise, why bother? It's very interesting. And that's really a much better attitude. And that's really what this comes down to is, if you're a speaker and you have something that can be of use to people, then you should have a way for them to get more information or to go deeper in their study of what you do with you. That's what people want. They want to go deeper and get more. If you really have something of value, then you should have something to offer, something to sell, some way to help them after your 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour on the stage is over, so that they continue in their education and advancement of their lives and improvement of their world with your help.
Well, as an ultimate speaker, we always talk about that ideas are unlimited and there's wonderful opportunities. Now I'm going to put you on the spot.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, about the worst experience you had as far as results. And then, and I kind of know the answer to the second one, the best results that you've got. So we've heard about the lady with the tight dress who stayed on the stage. But, okay, so you make a financial investment. You get on the stage to an audience you think is going to be the right one, and it just didn't work out. So maybe you can give us some numbers on that one.
Sure.
And let's go to the other side, and let's end with a success story.
Okay, so you got to be careful when you do this because promoters are notorious. They don't always tell the truth. In fact, I made a video on YouTube about a year ago. It was called The 10 Generals of the Experts Industry. And I said, general number one of the experts industry is, in general, if a seminar promoter tells you there's going to be 300 people there, you'll be lucky if there's 100 people there. What do you think about that? Is that about accurate?
Well, we hear that in the National Speakers Association. You know, how many talks did you give this month? Oh, only 200 this month.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, yes, we've heard about the exact, but I know you well enough that you don't do that. So tell us the real numbers.
Okay. So,
the Clint Arthur numbers.
Okay, so what I'm saying is...
a bad experience and a good experience.
So what I'm saying is that the way you get burned is when the promoters don't tell you the truth.
Oh, I see.
Because I had a promoter I was talking to, and I said, so let me get this straight. There's going to be 6,000 lawyers there, and I'm going to get my booth for $2,000, and if I pay another $2,500, I can have a 45-minute education session, a breakout, all of my own. He's like, yes, that's exactly correct. And I get there, and there's not 6,000 lawyers. There are 6,000 law firm HR executives. These are women who work for the law firm recruiting lawyers. They're not my market. Okay? So that event was a bust, a complete bust. That was probably the worst experience I had, and I busted my butt talking to women HR executives for law firms, trying to find somebody to get something out of it for 2 whole days. Very discouraging. All right? But the hit was less than $5,000 plus my time. The best experience I've had was when I sponsored at a medical conference, and it cost me a little more than $6,000 for my booth and for 15 minutes on the main stage. And I walked out of there with sales of $163,000.
Wow. So that was a good investment.
From 15 minutes of talking on the main stage, I did 6 figures, mid 6 figures. So that's what's possible. And does it happen every time? No, of course it doesn't happen every time. But I will tell you that if you have a valuable product or service that people want, and you have an offer that is irresistible and has been well constructed and developed, and you know who the market is, that sponsoring your speaking opportunities is indeed the easiest, fastest, and most lucrative way to build a profitable speaking career.
Wow. Well, there's some great ideas, Ultimate Speakers. All you need is one good idea, and maybe you adapt it, change it, and make it something that you can use for yourself. So remember, ideas are unlimited. It's up to you to put them into action.
Hey, should we tell them about a way that...
let's put your contact information on your website if anybody wants to see some other things. Can we put that right on the screen?
Let's do that, and let's tell them about a way that they can get in on some of this. I have a sponsored speaking event for speakers who want to, number one, build authority positioning and expert positioning and thought leader positioning for their personal brand, and also develop some great marketing assets. I give everything that I wish every promoter would give me. When you come to the Business Expert Forum at Harvard Faculty Club, you get positioned as a speaker at Harvard, which you can immediately start using to make more money. In last week's video, I showed the video of a financial consultant who just dropped that into one of his client acquisition seminars and doubled his closing rate at that seminar just from dropping in that he was invited to speak at Harvard and will be speaking at Harvard later this year. So that's one thing you get. You get a video, beautiful 3-camera HD broadcast quality video of your main stage presentation. You speak on the main stage. You get 5 minutes to tell your story in front of a room of 100 thought leaders in suits and ties, and we'll include many shots of the audience in your video, as well as photographs of you with the audience in place. You also get to be on the stage with the man who is the actor who portrays the most interesting man in the world in the Dos Equis beer commercials. He's a huge international celebrity. You get video and photos of that with the audience in place as well, positioning you as a celebrity speaker. You can put your book, video, DVD in the goodie bag, whatever you like, one promotional item. You get the whole list of all the attendees. I'll tell you what, as a person who sponsors all these events, they never give me the list. I wish they would give me the list. Then I could start mailing to those people and develop the leads from just cool, lukewarm prospects to people who get to know, like, and trust me through my snail mail marketing that I would like to do, or even my email marketing. You get every piece of contact information of all the attendees. You also get your speech transcribed into a chapter in our book, Thought Leadership at Harvard, which I guarantee will become a #1 bestseller in its category on Amazon. I've done it 15 times for clients already. So you become a #1 best-selling author, a Harvard thought leader, you get a video of yourself as a speaker, you become a Harvard speaker. How useful would that be when people who are considering you for speaking slots at conferences and events say, where else have you spoken? They always ask that question. Where else have you spoken? Harvard. That's a good place. That'll get you noticed. You get all that and more. It's called the Business Expert Forum at Harvard Faculty Club. It's sponsored by the Entrepreneurship Students Club of Harvard Business School. You would think it would cost $10,000 or more for this opportunity. The investment, there will be people there who will pay as much as $77.95 as a single pay, or 4 installments of $19.95, totaling to $8,000. The investment for my brothers and sisters in the Joel Weldon Ultimate Speaker Program is only $49.95 or 3 installments of $17.95. You must register before June 15th to get that, and I have also contracted with Joel to provide you with 30 minutes of his coaching as a bonus for signing up as a member of Ultimate Speaker. You must let me know I'm a member of Ultimate Speaker in order to qualify for the special coaching with Joel Weldon and for this special low investment rate by June 15th. And if you're interested in that, there is a website on the screen right now. Go to that website and you can enroll by clicking a button and providing your credit card information.
Well, I've worked with some of your other people that have done this in the past, and it's really been rewarding to see how excited they are with the results. So looking forward to doing that again, and glad you've hired me to be your coach on this project so we get an even better video.
Amen to that. I count you as one of my top mentors. I'm a member of Genius Network in large part because I want to go there and observe your coaching of the other speakers at the events, and to be in your presence and to get whatever I could get as far as your mentorship in a live one-on-one situation. So I respect you, I admire you, I am thrilled to know you, and I'm honored to count you as a friend and mentor.
Well, thank you, Clint. And now you've got some ideas you can pay to speak and still do well. Now go make it a great day.